Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the front room. I'm Kai, and I'm here with my dad today.
Thank you for making some time for us today.
We're going to cover the winner of a poll that I put up on Patreon. We've been doing a lot of new stuff lately, so
Yep.
I wanted to reel things back to the 90s. So I put up three songs, three
Uh-huh.
classic songs. Honestly, I felt a little bit cruel because someone said, you got to do all three.
Yeah.
And I said, I actually feel cruel thinking about it now that you had to decide on one.
You got to be cruel to be kind, though, sometimes.
So,
Just to throw in one of those stupid expressions.
yeah. So this is the poll here. If you would like to vote on any of our polls on Patreon, it's available in the link in the description. So here
Okay.
it is.
90s hip hop. All right. We're going back. Souls of Mischief, 93 till infinity. I haven't heard of them.
Mhm.
The Pharcyde, Passing Me By, 92. Of course, I've heard one Pharcyde song.
Running.
Yeah, Running.
J
Just
Dilla
the one.
production.
Right. And then, Mob Deep, Hell on Earth, Front Lines is the album, 96.
Our Frontlines is just another title for the song.
Oh, okay.
So
So what one?
what one is The Pharcyde?
The Pharcyde.
Yeah,
Okay.
over Mob Deep by pretty overwhelming margin. 47%
Oh, yeah.
of the votes.
Almost half the vote.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great.
So that's the track we're checking out today.
Yeah, because it was about time I heard a little bit more of them.
Yeah. This is their most classic track by far.
I remember Running. I really liked that because it had a, it wasn't like hardcore rap.
Yeah.
They had it had a soft edge to it
Yeah.
that I kind of liked.
Playful.
Yeah, playful. Some of the lyrics.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was about a guy who was young at school and he was being picked on a lot.
Yeah.
So he kept a low profile, but then he decided, I just can't keep doing this,
Mhm.
and he sort of stood up for himself and then went on and became an adult.
Mhm.
And right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of my favorite tracks from the 90s.
It's really good. And I
Yeah.
remember the horns.
Yeah.
Just that little bit of a horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that little detail. So you're going to see maybe a little bit of a familiar thing from the way you described it. That was actually perfect. And it sort of leads me to what I was going to say about the Pharcyde, is that at the time you had NWA
Yeah.
coming out of LA, which is where they're from as well.
Pretty tough, very tough
Very
stuff,
tough
but
stuff.
with a bit of a conscious edge to
Yeah.
some of it.
Yeah, but mostly what most people heard was
It was
just the
tough.
hardness, right?
Tough shit, yeah.
So they heard that, and in LA as well, you had Ice-T.
Yep.
I don't really know much of his material, but that was more of the hustling culture,
Yeah.
like more of the gangster side rather than like just straight violent side. It's
Uh-huh.
about hustling and doing that stuff. So you had those two types of rap music coming out of LA in the early 90s, late 80s. So for Pharcyde, the way you described it, they were a group that sort of took some inspiration from some groups on the West, like a Tribe Called Quest, that's a lot lighter, and they brought that over to LA.
Who I haven't heard yet.
You haven't heard yet? So that's what they did, and they
Yeah.
were a breath of fresh air for a lot of people because of that lightness and playfulness.
Yeah, I could see how that would be from the West Coast
Mm-hmm.
rather than the East.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, especially.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
So in terms of LA, they were a complete departure from your groups like NWA or your artists like Ice-T. So that's one thing. This track is produced by Jay Swift, and the last piece of info that I really wanted to mention about this track, which is called Passin Me By from 92, is that Jay Swift, he's a really talented producer. Unfortunately, he had some personal issues in his life and he wasn't as prolific as you'd hope he'd be, considering how talented he is. But
Yeah.
around this time, technology was rapidly improving for, your digital, or I guess analog, like type of machines, right? So where you could sample things. And because it was developing rapidly, with every year that passed, these machines could have more information stored on them to sample.
Yeah.
So a few years before this, maybe you could only sample maybe like 3 parts of something. So it could be 3 individual tracks that you put together. But on this track, he actually samples 6 songs and merges it into one, which is something that was only able to be done around this time.
And probably to accomplish if you were able to accomplish that earlier,
Yeah.
You'd have to put in so much more effort
Yeah.
to get there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, totally. So that's one thing just to consider because it has a really colorful sound.
6 samples.
6 samples.
Wow.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those are drum samples. So he's using like 4 different drum samples, which is crazy
Yeah.
how that works together.
I always have a hard time picking out drum samples.
Mm-hmm.
If it's lyrics or melody, it's easier.
Yeah.
Drums is more difficult.
Yeah. So he takes a whole bunch on this one. He's taken a sample from James Brown, Funky Drummer, which is one of the most sampled songs ever.
I might know it.
And it's for that drum beat. You can hear it faintly during the chorus. And I'm not going to go over all the samples right now. We can talk about that later if we want. But it also samples Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, well, I wish you had held off on that one because I might have actually got that.
It's so brief.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That it's not going to be
Yeah.
something that you could really pick out.
It doesn't really stand out.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is
Fair
near
enough.
the beginning. So
All right.
just want you
Yeah,
to mention
I'll
that
watch
if you
for
can
that.
place it. So yeah, Pharcyde.
Sampling Jimmy, which is not done often enough, I might
Yeah,
add.
and if it's not good, then you might have to lock Pharcyde up.
Oh, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
I'm excited. My second Pharcyde song, man.
Yeah, and just so you know, these are the guys here.
Oh, because I remember the cover that you showed me when we watched Runnin', and it had them all in their suits looking really spiffy.
Mm-hmm.
Pale suits, yellow cover.
Yeah.
And that to me was 95, but it reminded me of a lot of the R&B bands from the 60s into the early 70s, all dressed the same, you know?
Yeah.
Not the same style, but just that coordinated look,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Which is really, really sweet to see.
It is, yeah.
It almost looked cute
Right.
on that album cover.
Yeah, something you don't see in
But
rap.
here,
right?
I mean, they're looking totally different here.
Yeah, almost like Wu-Tang type stuff.
Yeah.
But just put this photo here so you can see them, and because they're sort of wacky guys, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
Awesome. Let's get into this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's at least 2 or 3 of them who rap, right? Or do they all rap? I think they all rap.
They all rap.
They all rap.
Mm-hmm. Okay. 92. Here's the album cover.
Wow. That is really unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Bizarrelli?
Yeah, it's Bizarre Ride 2.
Bizarre Ride 2.
The Pharcyde.
Wow.
Neat, right?
Yeah, it is. You know what it reminds me of? Somehow it reminds me of that Genius Giza cover.
Jizza, yeah.
Jizza. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah, the illustration style.
Yeah. Not the color scheme so much, but yeah, just something about
Very comic-y.
it. Mm-hmm. All right.
Here we go.
Oh, that's Hendrix right there.
Oh, you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's Hendrix. Off his first album.
Yeah. It's the title track of the album. I thought no way you would know that.
Okay. So distinctive.
Right.
Anyway.
Now in my younger days I used to sport a shag. When I went to school I carried lunch in a bag with the apple for my teacher cause I knew I'd get a kiss. Always got mad when the class was dismissed. But when it was a session I always had a question. I would raise my hand to make a snack come through my desk and help me with my problem. It was never much. Just a trick to spell and sit and try to sneak a touch. Oh how I wish I could hold her hand and give her a hug. She was married to the man, he was a thug, his name was Lee. He drove a Z, he picked her up from school probably at 3 o'clock. I was on her jock, yes indeedy. I wrote graffiti on the bus. First I write her name, then carve a bus with my name last. On the looking glass, I seen her yesterday, but still I had to let her pass. Thinking so bad with me.
Oh, wow.
Thinking so bad with me.
Wow.
Thinking so bad with me.
That is a great chorus. So smooth, so cool.
When I dream of fairy tales, I think of me and Shelley. See, she's
She's my type of hype, and I can't stand when brothers tell me that I should quit chasing and look for something better. But the smile that she shows makes me a go-getter. I haven't gone as far as asking if I could get with her. I just play love by ear and hope she gets the picture. I'm shooting for her heart, got my finger on the trigger. She can be my broad, and I can be hot. All I can do is stay up. Back as kids, we used to kiss when we played truth or dare. Now she's more sophisticated, highly educated, not at all overrated. I think I need a prayer to get in a book, and it looks rather dry. I guess a twinkle in her eye is just a twinkle in her eye. Although
I
she's crazy
just love the
stepping, I try
production.
and stop the
Yeah,
stride, 'cause
sounds,
I won't have no more of this passing me by.
Time for me to voice my opinion. Can't be pretending she didn't have me. Sprung like a chicken, chasing my tail like a doggy. She was kind of like a star, thinking I was like a fan. Damn, she looked good. Downside, she had a man. He was a Rudy Toot, a Nick and Poop. She told me soon your little birdie's gonna fly the coop. She was a flake like corn, and I was born not to understand. But letting the past, I proved to be a better man.
You can really tell that it's sampled.
The voice or the music.
The music. You can tell, like 95, a lot of the rap from back then, I'm really getting a sense. You can hear the samples, like in Nas and Wu-Tang. You can tell that it samples things. Some of the newer rap that I hear, I can't tell that it's sampling things because I think it's sampling to a lesser degree. Isn't that right?
Yeah,
back
it
in these
absolutely
days,
does. Yeah.
they sampled more.
Yeah.
And even though I can't put my finger on what it's sampling most of the time, a lot of these songs from this period, I can just tell it's kind of sampling, but it's merging them to create this really kind of exciting sound now.
Yeah.
I love the beat.
Uh-huh.
And I love the instruments there. There's an organ in the background.
Yeah,
yeah. You know,
yeah.
not too prominent, but it creates a bit of a mood.
Yeah, I think that's from a Quincy Jones sample.
Is it?
Yeah. The Quincy Jones sample is called Summer in the City.
Oh.
Yeah.
Summer in the City. That was a song by the Lovin' Spoonful, remember?
Yeah, when I searched that title up, that one came up first before the Quincy.
Did it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, very cool. Great vibe.
When I first heard this, it was so different. Even, when I listened to it in maybe 2017 when I first heard it, I thought, whoa, this is weird.
It's like running. It's so sweet. I mean, no one could take offense to this track, right?
Yeah, and I think at the time, this was a lot of people's introduction to the Pharcyde.
Yeah.
So I thought, whoa, who are these guys? But not only that, but the message can resonate to pretty much everyone because they're describing their own times of love and that sort of thing. So
totally relatable.
Doesn't
matter what your background is.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this chorus here by Fat Lip, they did quite a lot of drugs, the group, and I think they're on shrooms or something. This is what I read, and they're watching The Doors, the movie that came out in '91 about Jim Morrison. And they're watching that.
Yeah.
And from that, they got inspired to sing this chorus. Fat Lip did, like she keeps on passing me by.
Is that from The Doors, do you think?
I don't know, but I think they just got inspired by something they saw in that movie. So they did it on the spot while they were watching it pretty much.
Right.
And created that chorus. Because this chorus doesn't really have a typical hip hop chorus from that era, right? Just one phrase yelled.
Right.
I can't think of other songs like that. Even though it is simple, there are other simple choruses in hip hop, but one yell like this, she keeps on passing me by.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked that out. Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, he was a Rudy Toot, a Nick and Poop. She told me soon your little birdie's gonna fly the coop. She was a flake like corn, and I was born not to understand. But letting the past, I proved to be a better man.
Some internal rhyming going on here.
Yeah, lots of rhymes.
Nice. Yeah, it's good. Love that horn, man.
I think it's a sax.
I'm guessing that's the James Brown sample. But
No, it's not.
It isn't.
To my knowledge.
Now there she goes again, the dopest Ethiopian. And now the world around me begins moving in slow motion whenever she happens to walk by. What is the apple of my
All
eye?
right.
Look and disregard my feelings, no matter how much I
Great
try.
flow there,
Wait,
man.
no, I did not really pursue my little princess with persistence. And I was so low-key that she was unaware of my existence. From a distance, I desired her, secretly admired her, wired her a letter to get her. And it went, my dear, my dear, my dear, you do not know me, but I know you very well. Now let me tell you about the feelings I could for you when I tried.
92.
Sort of attempt. I
crazy.
attempt.
Isn't 95?
Damn, I wish I wasn't
92,
such a
that was
wimp. 'Cause then I would let
92.
you know that
Running
I
was
love you so when if I was your
95,
man, then I would be true. The only lying I would do is in the bed with you. Then I signed to Tilly, the one who loves you dearly. P.S. love me tender. But the letter came back 3 days later. Returned to sender.
Oh yeah. 92. That's some hot rapping.
Yeah.
Wow. I just now noticed the scratching.
Yeah. I think that came in here, not in the last chorus.
Okay, that horn's going to be going through my head the rest of today.
Yeah.
Sax, I mean.
That's a real vintage sounding organ, isn't it?
Sure is, man. I don't know my organs. I don't know my organs. I couldn't say which type of organ it was. That was fantastic. That was a breath of effing fresh air. You know?
Yeah.
It really was.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. The snap, crackle, and poppin'. What do you call that again? The
Like
Were the-
vinyl fuzz.
vinyl fuzz.
type of
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
A lot of it at the end there. I wasn't trying to figure out because I don't know.
Yeah.
I was wondering when that came into rap, you know?
Well, I think it's just a natural thing because they're sampling. This guy, Jay Swift,
Yeah.
because he got 6 samples.
Yeah.
Just like that alone, you know that he is a crate digger, hardcore, right? So he's taken all of the samples, like everyone was back then, from a record directly. And I think there's probably someone. Please let us know if I'm wrong here, but I'm just guessing that certain ways of recording that vinyl is better than others. So it's not so much like a thing they applied onto it rather than something they left in, you know?
You think they left it in rather than applied it?
Yeah.
I think it's probably the other way around.
Really?
Well, yeah, just because I know back in the 70s, I had some friends, and I would do it. Come to think, take my brother's vast record collection, and I'd record it onto really good quality cassette tapes. And I had other friends who would do it onto big reel-to-reel record players, tape recorders. And as long as you started with a vinyl LP in good shape, you'd end up with very little of the snap, crackle, and pop vinyl fuzz. Almost none.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When you hear it here, it's so obvious. I think it's an effect that they put on.
Right. Yeah, that could be the case then. I guess I thought maybe that was the case because there's 6 samples. Like if you record one thing, it might not come up, but there's 6 samples.
Why would that make a difference?
Well, if like one sample has a little bit of fuzz, then the next one has a little bit of fuzz, then the next one has a little bit of fuzz, then the next one has a little bit of fuzz. That would stack onto each other.
But they're separate vinyl albums.
I know. So if you record one vinyl, you record that, and there's just a little bit of fuzz. That's what you're working with. You're working with that with a little bit of fuzz. But the next record also has a little bit of fuzz. So if they all have a little bit of fuzz, that might sound like it's, you know what I mean?
Not exactly.
Really?
I don't, because if they're independent albums,
Yeah.
and you're using a sample from this album,
Yeah.
and a sample from that album.
Yeah.
Why would the fuzz accumulate?
Because it's all in the end, it's all on one track. So even when I take it on, if I sample something on my computer, which has no fuzz, of course, but let's say someone had an old recording and the way it was recorded has a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And I put that into my digital machine, which is like my laptop.
Yeah.
Then I have another one that has that as well. That it ends up being more muffled. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, something I didn't know about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I liked it here. It was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It adds to that dusty feel.
It does.
And I think it's also just a reflection of the instruments they were working at the time, because if you listen to 36 Chambers, there's a lot of that. And I don't think that was by choice. Like,
back then.
right, because
those guys.
Yeah,
they didn't have a lot of cash on hand.
No,
right?
they had almost nothing.
Yeah.
And it sounded really dusty and crackly. So maybe not to the degree that this is, but it sounded really muddled, right? So that I think it really fits with this type of music.
The only other thing I want to say is I heard the distinct voices of the different rappers, and I like the I don't know who the members are and who is rapping which verse.
Yeah.
But I like the verses subsequent to the first verse more. The guy's voice. I like the rapping.
So that
later on in the song.
Yeah. So the first one, Booty Brown. I
was sort of good, but didn't do much for me.
My favorite is Fat Lips.
Fat Lips was great.
Which is the last full verse.
That was great. And the one before that, I think, was really good too.
Yes, yeah.
Just a lot of oomph to the voice.
Yeah, and Fat Lips also on the chorus as well. So his contributions to the track were really good on this one. And each one's telling their own, as you know, story with someone.
Yeah. That's right.
Which is nice. And they're definitely not afraid to use certain phrases that are the opposite of tough, you know?
he was a Rudy Toot, a nincompoop.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's good stuff. It's heartwarming. It's friendly music that anyone could enjoy, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, breath of fresh air.
And they ended each verse with something relating to the title of the track or the chorus.
Oh, I missed that.
Because I won't have no more of Passin Me By, says Slim Kid.
Right.
And then Imani says, by letting her pass, I proved to be the better man, right?
I like that line too.
And I guess, this one doesn't, but it ends with a nice ending here. Like, then I signed sincerely, the one who loves you dearly. P.S. Love me tender. The letter came back 3 days later, return to sender. Damn, right?
2 Presley references there, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Love me tender.
Love me.
Is Return to Sender one as well?
Return to sender. Do. Address unknown. No such number, no such zone. We had a quarrel, a lover's spat, and some of that letter kept coming back. They wrote upon it. Return to sender.
I've always wanted to sort of...
2 great songs, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The older I get, the more I appreciate Elvis Presley. When I was your age, I thought he was a bit of a joke. I don't know why. It seemed old-fashioned and just kind of, I don't know. But now I realize he was really quite something.
Yeah, right. I don't know much of his music.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do, like, now especially seems... it's hard to listen to his music now.
Well, you're at that age where I just really couldn't listen to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he's important. I don't know anything about him.
Well, even if you're not that enamored by Presley's music, what he did on stage with his body.
Yeah.
I mean, that was landmark stuff, man. That was, he wrote the book on what you could do on film. In front of an audience, and they used to show his early live performances. They would cut them off from the waist down, so you couldn't see him gyrating.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite something.
Yeah, it is. Well, we're off on a bit of a tangent, but that's what music talk. Yeah. That's what music does, right?
Yeah. It's funny how much of a jump in such a short period of time, in terms of the grand scheme of things. It's a short period of time in music, in culture, pop culture, right? What's allowed and stuff.
Yeah. Just one other example from '66, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
I mentioned that before. The song Let's Spend the Night Together, when they played that live on the Ed Sullivan Show, Ed Sullivan insisted they change it from Let's Spend the Night Together to Let's Spend Some Time Together.
Yeah.
Yeah. My, times have changed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, another thing that you've mentioned is how Madonna with her outfits, that was
outrageous.
quite crazy at the time, right?
Yeah, wearing what seemed like underwear on the outside, right?
Yeah, I think
back in '84 or something like that.
I think that a lot of her outfits were done by a designer, Jean-Paul Gaultier, I think. So that's like a major contribution from him. And then in my time, just one moment was Nicki Minaj's song called Anaconda that came out in 2011, I think.
Yeah.
It broke the internet completely and caused so much controversy because of what she was wearing, or I guess not wearing.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, that caused hysteria.
Are you going to treat me to that sometime?
Maybe, because Nicki Minaj is considered to be the queen of rap by many.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I've heard her a bit on the radio, I think. But,
I know lots of people watching will say, no, she's not. You know, like Lauren is, or Queen Latifah is, right?
I'd be surprised if anyone could top Lauryn Hill's rapping.
Yeah. Well, I prefer Lauren's, but Nicki's is definitely her own style, and
there you go.
It's something that I didn't really like up until maybe just like 5 years ago, so much. But she's quite good.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks a lot. That was fantastic. Loved it.
Nice. Yeah. Great. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you have a wonderful day. Let us know what other old school hip hop we should be doing, or you think that my dad would like, or I would like. We'd really appreciate that. And let us know what your thoughts are on this track.
Have yourself a great day. See you again soon.